Hello and welcome to our Human Rights and Human Diversity First Year Experience video. My name is Julie and today I'll be speaking with Dr. Robinson, Program Coordinator for Human Rights and Human Diversity Program, and two current students, Mary and Manit. In this video, you will learn about the HRHD program from both a faculty and student perspective. Dr. Robinson, I'll start with you. Can you tell us what is the most important part of the first year experience in the Human Rights and Human Diversity Program?
Well, thanks, Julie. From my perspective as a program coordinator and as someone who teaches the first year courses, I have two main goals, really. The one, as you'd expect, is about what students learn. We really want to build foundational knowledge that students will use through the human rights program and then in their careers after that. So for instance, the first term course is called HR 100, Human Rights and Human Diversity. And it's like most of our courses, it's multidisciplinary. It tends to focus on political science, philosophy, law kind of approaches. We ask questions like, what are human rights? We look at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as an example of that. We look at issues related to human rights and diversity and often how they conflict, and the students get to chew on that in a short essay assignment on a recent controversy. We also look at ways that people seek to advance human rights in the world. The second term course is HR 200. It's called Human Rights Violations, Advocacy and Analysis. And it takes more of a theoretical approach with a focus on sociology and political science again. We look at questions like, why do human rights violations happen? So we can try to identify ways to stop them. And we also strategize about how to advocate for change. That's the one part. The other part that I'd say is just as important is that we want our students to get to know each other. We want to build a cohort. We want students to feel at home. We want them to have friends. We want them to have colleagues. That starts right in the first week where we have a meet and greet so they can find out who is actually here and meet them. And then that continues into the HR 200 in the second term. It's a small course, 20 to 30 students, and it's only HRHD students. So that's very important to us, and we put resources there because we care about it.
It's great. Mary, I'm going to ask you, what was the most memorable about your HRHD courses?
One of the most memorable things about my HRHD courses was probably when in my HR 100 course, we got to partake in a simulation game that organized students into countries and NGOs that represented different actors in international development and the interactions that occur. And I find that very memorable experience because it was enjoyable learning in a very different way than what I was used to. And it helped me come out of my comfort zone.
How about for you, Manit? What was most memorable about your HRHD courses?
I think what's most memorable is that I got to learn not just about human rights in Canada, but you get to learn about human rights internationally, and you kind of learn like human rights violations that occur around the world and stuff like that. And that's memorable to me because like it actually made me want to work internationally. And so I think that was like what was really memorable to me.
Manit, I'd like to ask, how did the workload compare to high school and your experience with your professors so far at Laurier here?
So obviously it's gonna be really different, but I think people expect it to be way more work, like where all you're doing is work, but it's actually really manageable. And the professors are really, really nice and they're always willing to help. So as long as you stay on top of it, it's actually really fun and interesting, and it's not as bad as people think it's gonna be.
In your experience, Mary, can you share with us, sort of the workload compared to high school, your experience with professors?
Yeah, compared to high school, I actually felt that the workload was less because I felt that there was more time between classes to work on things. And so I definitely got to learn subjects in greater depth. I found it was a lot more in-depth in high school. And the professors I had were really passionate about their areas of expertise and were able to help students and have discussions like anytime you wanted to, even outside of class. So overall, it was just a very rich learning environment.
That's great. And can you tell us a bit, Mary, about your experience at Laurier thus far?
So far, my experience at Laurier uh, has been a lot better than high school, and there was a lot more ways to get involved and a wider array of courses to take that were more geared to my interests and more people that I had things in common with. I met a lot of good friends, and so I've really enjoyed Laurier overall.
That's great. And for you, Manit, how about for you and your experience at Laurier thus far?
I have to agree with what Mary said. It's true, like there's way more courses that you actually have interests in, and I've made a lot of friends, surprisingly, given the circumstances and stuff, but it's actually really interesting because you find people who have the same interests as you, as Mary had said, and I've really enjoyed Laurier, yeah.
Well, it's great to hear that sort of making friends, especially, you know, in a remote environment so far this year. So Manit, I do have a question. Have you been able to take advantage of any academic support services at Laurier?
Yes, so Laurier offers like a lot of workshops, and I went to two of them. One was a mental health workshop, and then the other was a workshop that helps you develop better habits, like in terms of not procrastinating as much. Another service is you can access librarians and they will help you with your papers. And I've accessed them a couple of times, and it's like a lifesaver when you're doing your papers and stuff like that. So those are like the support services that I used.
Excellent. I'm gonna turn things over to you, Dr. Robinson. What are some future opportunities within this program for students?
Yeah, well, there's just a plethora of them, and we'll talk about them more in some other videos, I believe, but I'll just note some for now. My colleague, Dr. Wilson Forsberg, offers every other year a field course in Mexico in the spring that focuses on human rights and migration. We have in third year, we have what we call professionalization seminar, where students work in teams to write grants for local nonprofits, and they explore options in terms of grad schools and careers to sort of plan for that next step. After that, some students will do internships with local NGOs. They're up to 84 hours long, so it's a great experience to get some practical experience and get a good reference. And then there's other things we have that you can combine with HRHD. We have the International Development Specialization. We have a new undergraduate certificate in nonprofit career foundations. And students can also do human resources. And of course, some of our students are also going to be heading off to Sussex for law degrees.
Excellent.
Lots of variety.
I'm going to say clearly there's lots of opportunities for students. That's great. Mary, I'd like to ask you, what's your favorite first year memory that you have?
I think my favorite first year memory was just coming to Laurier for the very first time, being a student there and getting to participate in orientation week, where I had a lot of fun and met a lot of really great people, and just going to those first classes as well, when I realized that this was more intellectually challenging than high school was, and it seemed kind of daunting, but also very exciting, and I was just very happy to be able to come to Laurier.
Excellent. I'd like to ask you, Dr. Robinson, what's your favorite memory as a first-year professor?
Well, there's so many, Julie, but one that comes to mind is at Laurier on the Brantford campus, we have something called ACERS, which is an opportunity for students to present some of the research they've done in sort of a competitive format. They do a poster, and they're trained on how to do a poster and how to present it. And I like to nominate students who've written good papers in the first year course for this, because it's just such a great opportunity. So last year, there must have been about 5 or 6 of our students that I'd nominated. And I went there during the day when they're doing the presentations, and I got to go around and chat with them, and also just to observe them and see what an amazing job they were doing, explaining what they'd done and how proud they were and how much they'd grown even in that experience. So it was it was really gratifying, and it was just so nice to see these students take advantage, to really grab some of the opportunities that people make available for them at Laurier.
Well, this has been really informative. Thank you all for sharing, from faculty and student perspective, the experiences in the Human Rights and Human Diversity program. This has been really great. So thank you for sharing.